All right, so we got the Twisted Road FXR, or the FXR that I got up on Twisted Road for rental. This is actually my primary bike too. I've got the Road King, but this is just really fun for around town. It's got some upgrades, one of which is the braking system. I swapped for a PM caliper, Performance Machine caliper. Works great, but I will say the feel is still not quite there. Stopping ability is much improved. Also have the rear done. It's got a sport bike caliper. But yeah, again, the feel isn't where I'd want it to be. So what I learned is if you swap the original sized master cylinder, which is a 5/8 for a 9/16, and I didn't know this, they stamp them. You might not be able to see it, but that says 9/16 on that little mark, and it's in the same place on the other one. But if you go from 5/8 to 9/16, so we're only talking a 1/16 of an inch difference, you'll get more pull, or more not movement, the distance, that travel distance, lever distance, will increase. So you'll feel like you can pull it back further, but we should get some better feel. So it really shouldn't increase performance anything. It'll just give you a better sense of how hard you're braking, because that's it. That's basically maxed out. I can pull harder, but obviously it stopped. So simple process should be take off the old one. Obviously make sure not to get brake fluid everywhere. And then prime the new one by basically just hooking up the end of your cable to it and then pumping brake fluid into itself to get all the air bubbles out of the master cylinder itself. And then attach it to the caliper and bleed the brakes, which I have my own little process for doing that. So we'll see how she goes. All right, she's all done and works as expected. Take a peek around here. That's not max, but pretty much the full range. So it is a weird sensation at first because the lever comes back a noticeable amount more. Like I said before, as you can see, stamped 5/8, so this is the original unit. The new unit asked for .5 and it didn't get it, so we'll have to see how that works out. Normally, if the system's clean, you can use whatever, unless there's special gaskets that aren't going to take to .4. .5 is probably superior, but didn't have it and didn't want to bother, so we'll see. But obviously you can wreck your system, or at least gunk it up using the wrong type. And finally, I'm sure other people do this, but when you're bleeding the brakes, I use this pickle jar on top of a little thing to get the height right, and the actual tube goes all the way down and it's filled with old brake fluid. The reason being is while you're working one hand to do the lever and opening and closing this valve, a lot of times if you're not careful, you can let air back into the system. The nice thing about doing this is, since it's going into fluid, as soon as you evacuate all the air through the system, there's no way to pull air back in because the tube is fully filled with brake fluid. So you just have to get some bubbles out, open it wide, give it a bunch of cracks till you stop seeing bubbles. You'll end up pumping a good amount in there, but it's a lot quicker than going back and forth, and possibly sucking the air right back up the tube. So hope this was helpful. Again, I can't say there was really much of a performance gain as more as it was a feel difference, in that you can sort of modulate the lever a little bit better than you could before. So, great.